My girlfriend told me she was pregnant, so I had arranged to move all her stuff out behind her back. If you only read the title, I might sound like a bad guy. But I'm not. I've known I wanted to be child-free since my early teens. My parents didn't oppose me, but they did say I could change my mind. Since I'm not an only child, they'll still get grandchildren. When I was 20, I got a vasectomy. When I was 22, I met my girlfriend. I've been open about wanting to be child-free from the very beginning. I remember telling her about my vasectomy, but to be honest, I think there was already alcohol involved. So I'm not sure if she remembers. We were dating for a year and a half when she moved in with me. I'm now 25. 2 weeks ago, I got home from work, and my girlfriend was standing in the living room smiling. She showed me the positive pregnancy test. Thinking it was a TikTok prank, I played along. When she didn't reveal it was a prank, I knew what had happened, but I continued playing along. That night, I got up at midnight and started sending emails. I took a week off work and emailed my best friends the details, telling them to pretend they knew nothing and be prepared. The next morning, I left for work as usual, but I didn't go to work. Carl, one of my friends, was waiting outside. He had a cap and a hoodie ready for me. The whole week, we followed Katie, and on day 3, she met up with her affair partner. We followed them to a motel, and then Carl followed him to his home. The guy was married with kids. We devised a plan. I convinced Katie to go to her parents' house to tell them the good news last Saturday. While there, I gave my friends the keys to my home. At Katie's parents' house, we had lunch with the parents and siblings first, and then Katie told them the good news. Everyone was happy. After a while, I got a call I had to take. It was my friends telling me they were done and ready. So I asked to make an announcement. I pulled Katie aside in front of everyone. I bet they thought I was going to propose. I started by telling how we met, how much she meant to me, and ended with, "And that's why it hurts so much that you cheated on me and got pregnant by someone else." The room was silent. Katie looked shocked. She started telling me it wasn't a funny joke. I said I'm not joking. The moment you told me you were pregnant, I knew you cheated. I got a vasectomy 5 years ago, and I go to checkups every year. So if you're pregnant, you have cheated. At that moment, her phone rang. I told her to answer it. It was probably AP's full name. You know, the real father of your baby. Probably wants to talk about you moving in. Not sure if his wife and kids are going to like that. What happened was that my friends had loaded up everything of Katie's in a U-Haul and brought it to AP's home. When they called me, they were in front of his home for the final part. They rang the doorbell and asked the AP where they could put her things. He was confused, and they handed him and his wife a folder with pictures of him and Katie. And Carl said, since OP is kicking her out, she needs a place to stay. We're just here delivering her things. And since you don't want the woman who is pregnant with your child to stay on the street, we assumed you would take her in. AP called Katie yelling that she ruined his life, and he never wants to see her again. After hearing him scream over the phone, I said, "Oh, so his wife doesn't want his mistress and their affair baby living there. So you'll have to stay here. With your parents." With that, I walked away, leaving a crying Katie and her confused and angry family behind. My friends brought the U-Haul with her stuff to her parents' house after the AP refused to accept it. I went home where my sister was waiting for me. She knew everything. This was not part of my plan, but Carl knows me so well. I broke down and cried in my sister's arms. She stayed the weekend taking care of me, allowing me to grieve and process the betrayal. Update 1. It's been a week since I dumped Katie at her parents' house. My boys cleaned out my home and brought everything of Katie's to her parents. But because I didn't have time to mark everything that was Katie's, the boys didn't take everything that belonged to her. And they even took some things of mine. So I called her sister to arrange a meeting to exchange our belongings. The sister agreed under one condition, a sit-down with Katie to hear her out. I would have just left everything there, but the tablet had some pretty important work stuff, so I agreed to hear Katie out. But I made it very clear that there was no chance of us getting back together. Katie was a shadow of her former self. She started with small talk, but I quickly told her I wasn't there for that. She wanted to apologize. Here's where I almost lost it. I wanted to yell at her for destroying our relationship. I wanted to yell that I can't accept a simple apology for destroying my trust. But I didn't yell. I was quiet. I didn't accept the apology. I also didn't reject the apology. I just said nothing. She asked why I never asked why she did it. I said there was nothing she could say to justify what she did. So it didn't matter which excuse she came up with. She said she really thought the child was mine because we weren't using protection, vasectomy with yearly checkups. And she was hoping that I would change my mind about being child-free as soon as I saw that she was pregnant. I told her that was a very dumb assumption, and she clearly did not use any protection with her affair partner. She told me she thought it was unfair of me to expose the affair to her family. I didn't have to do that. My response was, that's right, I didn't have to. I chose to. Just like you chose to cheat on me, just like AP chose to cheat on his wife. These are just the consequences of those choices. She asked me if we still had a chance if she aborted the baby. I told her keeping or aborting the baby wouldn't change her betrayal. She can do what she wants. We are not getting back together. I was done. I heard her out. She didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. So I got up and took my stuff and was about to leave when she said, I love you. My response was, no, you don't. If you loved me, you would never have betrayed and hurt me like you did. I loved you, but you destroyed that too. With that, I left, and I could hear her sobbing. I've also learned that the affair partner is kicked out of his house. They're divorcing. He ended it with Katie because he blames her for ruining his life. I don't know what Katie is going to do with the baby, but it's not my problem. The weeks after that confrontation were a haze. I threw myself into work, grateful for the distraction of deadlines and meetings. My sister, Lisa, stayed close, checking in daily and dragging me out for coffee or hikes when I started spiraling. Carl and my other friends were there too, cracking jokes to lighten the mood but knowing when to back off. I'd planned the exposure with precision, but I hadn't prepared for the emptiness that followed. Betrayal cuts deep, and even revenge doesn't fill the hole it leaves. About a month later, Katie's sister contacted me again. She said Katie was struggling, living with their parents, no job, and still pregnant. I didn't care, but then she mentioned a legal issue. Katie claimed I'd taken some of her jewelry, stuff she said was worth thousands. I knew it was a lie. My friends had been meticulous, and I'd double-checked everything. I hired a lawyer, just to be safe. The lawyer sent a letter demanding proof of ownership, and Katie backed off. My lawyer suspected it was a desperate attempt to get money or attention. It pissed me off, but I was glad I'd kept records of everything. I started therapy a couple of months ago. Lisa pushed me into it, saying I needed to deal with the anger before it consumed me. At first, I hated it sitting there. Spilling my guts to some guy with a notepad felt pointless. But he got me to see how Katie's betrayal wasn't just about her cheating. It was about her trying to rewrite my life, to trap me into a role I'd rejected years ago. We talked about my child-free choice, how it's not just a preference but a core part of who I am. Therapy's helped me stop second-guessing myself, though the trust issues linger. One night, I ran into Katie's affair partner at a bar. I wasn't looking for trouble, but there he was, drinking alone, looking like a man who'd lost everything. I couldn't resist. I sat down next to him and said, rough year, huh? He recognized me instantly, his face going pale. He stammered, said he didn't know Katie was with me, thought she was single. I didn't buy it, but I let him talk. He said his wife took the kids and half his assets in the divorce, and he's living in a shitty apartment now. He blamed Katie, said she pursued him, promised it was just a fling. I told him, you made your choices, just like she did. Live with it. I walked away, feeling a strange mix of closure and pity. He wasn't my enemy. He was just another fool caught in her mess. Work's been a bright spot. I got a promotion a few months back, leading a project I'd been gunning for. The extra responsibility keeps me focused, and the raise doesn't hurt either. Carl and my friends threw a small party to celebrate, and for the first time in a while, I laughed without forcing it. Lisa's been my rock, too. She's planning a trip for us next summer. Maybe to Europe, to reset after all this. I'm starting to look forward to things again, not just survive them. I met someone new a few weeks ago, through a coworker. Her name's Sarah, 27, a graphic designer who's as fiercely child-free as I am. We bonded over that, swapping stories about nosy family members and bad dates with people who think you'll change your mind. Our first date was easy, coffee, then a walk in the park, no pressure. She's not Katie, and I'm not the guy I was with Katie. I'm taking it slow, paranoid about getting burned again, but Sarah's patient. She knows the basics of what happened, and she hasn't pushed for more. Last weekend, we went to a concert, and I caught myself smiling like an idiot when she sang off-key. It's early, but it feels like a start. Katie's still a ghost in my life. Her sister sent one last message, saying Katie's keeping the baby and moving to another city. I didn't respond. I don't wish her ill, but I don't care either. Her choices, her consequences. I've got my own life to rebuild. My apartment's finally feeling like home. Lisa helped me hang some art, and Carl's always over for game nights. I'm planning to get a dog soon, something I couldn't do with Katie because she was allergic. A small win, but it's mine. Looking back, exposing Katie was the right call, even if it was brutal. I could have just kicked her out quietly, but she tried to trap me with a lie that would have upended everything I stand for. I'm not proud of the pain I caused her family. They didn't deserve that, but I don't regret protecting myself. Therapy's teaching me to let go of the guilt and focus on what's ahead. I'm 25, child-free, and free of her. For the first time in months, I'm starting to believe I'll be okay. This story is coming to an end. Press like if you like this, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to hear more story from us.